Hello, welcome back to Emergency Management Made Easy with Lauren. This is class number 19 in the series, What to Do Before or After a Crisis. Let's examine what might be occurring in your community behind the scenes that you may not be aware of, or you may be aware of, and wonder just what to do about it. So let's start with leading up to an attack, imminent behavioral and surveillance indicators. You know, it always sounds like more than it is until I explain it and make it plain just for you. There are observable behaviors that may precede an attack. Oh, yeah. What should you look for? What should you be aware of? The perpetrator may surveil a potential target. I think during the last 2 or 3 meetings, we talked about people visiting the church first or visiting the church just before an attack. Just visiting. There may be evidence that your house of worship was being monitored. The person might have been seen in 2 or 3 services, just sitting. Some people there may have known them. Their parents might have known them, like in one case, or they may be a stranger. These suspicious individuals may be in the vicinity attempting to gather information. They are observing your home, where you live, your house, business, college, or school. They may surveil the coming and going of staff, their schedules, working hours, volunteers. All suspicious activity should be observed and reported by staff, volunteers, and congregants. Everyone's eyes should be open and looking out, watching your business, watching your facility, watching your school and campus. They may seek out and engage in training or beginning mobilization in advance of the attack. And come to class, come to a training, seminar. Beware of suspicious persons in crowded areas wearing unusual, bulky clothing that might conceal guns or explosives. Unexpected or unfamiliar delivery trucks arriving at the facility. Unattended packages, i.e. backpacks, briefcases, boxes, including suspicious letters in the mailroom. And we'll go into it a little later, but in the mailroom, any packages with white powder. You see a package in the mailroom or you receive a letter and it's leaking of powder. It's unusual. Do not open it. Call back out of the room and call the police. Recent damage to perimeter fence or gate or lighting on campuses. Immediate action needs to be taken and requires an immediate response. Call 911 or law enforcement in your vicinity, wherever you are. Behavior profile of bad actors. I just want to go a little deeper into this before we end this part of our segment. We've had 3 classes and we've dealt with this extensively. I've gone all down in the weeds. Persons who pose a threat and plan to carry out attacks might engage in various behaviors that raise concerns. Law enforcement or others in the community may know the individual. They may have knowledge of a person's upbringing, personal history, or current situation, including community conflicts. Could be with other kids, could be with other adults, could be a marital issue. Yeah. The individual on occasion is dealing with negative life events and having gone through interventions such as mental health services, hospitalization, or adjudication with an arrest history. The perpetrators may be known or unknown in the community. Most of the time, these individuals have no prior history of unlawful behavior, i.e., many active shooters. No prior history. So they may or may not. But we want to keep your eyes wide open, not wide shut. As I stated before, there is no lack of compassion from the community. This person or persons, these persons could pose a danger to themselves or others. Mental illness may be a contributing factor, but its impact on the perpetrator's behavior is speculative or conjecture. We never know. We don't know what that person may or may not do. The literature in law enforcement, Secret Service, and psychological profiles show that many active shooters were described as social isolates, harbored feelings of hate and anger with a history of reported contact with mental health professionals. Life events or triggers include the following: loss of significant relationships, loss of a job impacting financial status, other adverse changes in circumstances and feeling of being forgotten, looked down on, rejected, powerless, and substance abuse use as a cause of psychological and social causes that particular profile. Mental health incidents and crisis management protocol policy. Just wanted to add a little bit more to that policy that we had discussed early on. Illness within the church-wide campus include mental health issues, abhorrent or disruptive behavior. When that occurs, in a volatile situation or critical incident, our primary responsibility is the safety of all. I know I've said it before and I'm repeating it. This guidance will assist you once repetitive, disruptive behavior has occurred or actual threats have been made of any kind. It's to be dealt with, not ignored. That's the point. Domestic violence and restraining orders. Everyone employed or present in your facilities should be asked to inform leadership or staff designee if they have placed a restraining order against anyone, or if there are issues related to child custody, business conflicts, interpersonal volatile relationships, or similar situations that might erupt into violence. The human or college resource offices, principals, or designated personnel should be assured of confidentiality except on a need-to-know basis. Managing crisis situations. If reunification is not possible because congregants or missing, injured, or killed family members need to be notified as soon as possible, the planning team should be selected beforehand who will be responsible for this critical task. Very important. While law enforcement is trained to take the lead on death notifications and injury protocols, all select staff should be trained in their role and responsibilities before the occurrence of critical incidents. Law enforcement and medical examiner procedures should be known and taught, and they should be followed, whatever they may be in your particular facility. Family members with next of kin or legal responsible caretakers should receive accurate and timely information with compassion. The Emergency Operations Safety Plan should include resources, both written and local points of contacts, to work with and provide support to family members and caretakers. This should include federal, victim assistance personnel, clergy, counselors, both internal and external, police officers, and other first responders within your community. These points of contact are recommended by state and federal emergency agencies. They should be connected to families early during the emergency, including while the individual is still missing or any victim have been positively identified. It's important that family members and caretakers receive long and short-term support services. This includes strategies for families who choose not to be engaged in interacting with the media either before or after the emergency incident. They may not want the media knocking on their door. So there's a lot to learn and to be considered for anyone in this particular role. Caregiver emergency contact information. Contact information for all congregants, employees, and students should be kept up to date. This information is critical to the reunification process for parents, children, legal guardians, and caretakers. Hard copies of this information should be kept in primary offices, alternate sites, on computers, paper files, card and binders for quick access and portability. During an emergency event, evacuation, keep in mind electronic information may not be available due to power outages, lack of available computers, and cell phones. These cards should be kept alphabetically for quick access. In worship houses, schools, this information could be organized by grade level with family contact information and caregivers who are authorized to pick up the student. Also list those persons with custodial and contact restrictions to ensure that children are released to legal guardians and authorized caregivers only. This is additional news and information you can use. It will be of benefit when you meet again with your emergency management team. During the next meeting, these are points that you should stress, information that needs to be taught, and I went through our last 3 trainings together to make sure I have not forgotten any of the major points that need to be added during the emergency team meeting, because there's so much going on right now in our schools, worship houses, everywhere, at work places. So I wanted to make sure I went deeper down in the weeds to give you information that may not be, quote unquote, in a book, even delivered by some of my colleagues in government. I wanted to get down in the weeds, and I want to put information in front of you that you can use. I want to get down in the weeds and make sure that you are getting the best education that I can give to help you when you're meeting, as you're still planning and building your teams of helpers, caretakers within your facility, wherever they are. That's all I have today. I hope that it's helpful. If you have concerns, well, you know how to find me. You know, prepare before it happens at outlook.com. Anything you want to ask me, please type. Please ask me. Send me an email. Because some of this information I'm getting from you all anyway that you need to know. News that you can use is what you received today. I will see you again next Friday. Stay safe. Think about what we talked about. Yeah, I know it's a class, but we're still talking with each other.